Today we are going to roast some coffee, which might seem like a quite easy task, but it can be quite stressful, especially in this game right here. Now, this here is about you having a little coffee shop serving your customers with coffee. And in this video, I am going to give you an overview of this game. I'm going to show you what the game is about and what a player actually do during their turn. Plus, how do you win the game? Well, sit down and let's have a look at this. So as I said, this game is about you having your little coffee shop here. And you will of course get orders that you need to fulfill because, well, your customers want their orders. In front of you, you also have these little cups here, or mugs. In these, you will collect ingredients. These ingredients, well, you will use them to fulfill the order from your customers. And it all seems quite easy, right? Well, yeah, it can be, but it can also be quite stressful. Because if you do not fulfill your customers' orders, well, they will eventually go down to the other side of your player board. And if there are 5 of these at the end of your turn, well, then the game is over. Plus, you will get minus points for each of these cards that you do not fulfill. Now, this is all about getting likes on social media. Isn't everything today? So, the game is about you collecting likes. Now, the player that has the most likes at the end of the game becomes the winner. And the ones that have less, well, they just need to work harder in the future. Besides getting 5 face down unfulfilled orders, well, the game will also end if we empty out all of the orders out on the table. If this happens, well, the game ends and we will go one final turn and then we will need to calculate the scores. But what can you actually do during your turn? At the start of your turn, you can choose to activate any of the 4 upgrades that you have on your player board. But to be able to do this, you need to pay something. You need to discard 3 completed orders. Now remember, these orders are the ones that will give you likes at the end of the game. So when you get rid of these, well, you also get rid of likes, meaning that you throw away scores. But if you want to activate any of these, well, you need to discard 3 cards. And then you can choose one of the 4 upgrades that you would like to activate. The one here on the top will give you 2 ingredients when you are on the same square as another player out on the market. This one here will grant you diagonal movement. This one down here will give you 2 ingredients markers on the 4 corners out on the ingredients market board. And this one down here will give you 2 ingredients markers on squares with caramel, chocolate, water, or tea leaves. So at the start of your turn, you can choose to activate some upgrades if you can pay at least 3 completed orders. And again, remember that every time you pay with these orders, you're actually paying with your scores. But then again, some of these upgrades are quite powerful, so it might be worth it just to get rid of some points to actually be able to make more scores in the long run. Now, during your turn, you can of course do more. There's 4 different actions, so to say, that you can do during your turn. And one of them is to collect resources out on the board, which you will do by moving out on this board. As you can see here, we have a bunch of different ingredients. And you can choose to move your little character here out on this board to collect resources. Now, at the start of the game, you can only move horizontal or vertical. But as I showed you before, you can upgrade so you can also move diagonal in the future. During your turn, you have 3 steps. And you don't need to use all of those 3 steps. You could just move 1 step and then be happy. Or you could move all 3 steps. For every square that you enter out here on the board, you will collect whatever resource it says. Now, you can enter another square with another player, but you cannot stop on that square. You can also choose to go back to the same square again if you would like to do that. And if you have any of these rush markers, you can actually discard one of them to get 1 extra movement. Once you have moved, you have hopefully managed to get some ingredients. Now after you have moved, you can choose to place these little ingredients into your mugs to be able to complete whatever orders your customers are waiting for. Now you can choose to place one in one mug and the rest in other mugs, or place everything in the same mug. Any way you like to. Just remember that once you have placed an ingredient into a mug, you cannot remove it again. Now, you can choose to empty a mug if you would like to do that, but in that case, all of the ingredients are gone and you cannot keep them. Plus, if you gather any resources that you do not want to keep, well, you can choose to just get rid of them right away. So the next step would be to see if you have managed to gather enough ingredients, but also correct ingredients to be able to fulfill any orders that your customer wants. Now, on these cards here, we have the beverage. We have the ingredients that you need in the same mug to be able to complete that order. When we have ingredients in a mug that matches one order, when we can actually choose to complete that order. Now, the ingredients needed to make this beverage, of course, need to be in the same mug. Once you have managed to do that, you place the mug on top of the order you want to complete, showing all the other players around the table that you have managed to complete this order. And these ingredients goes back to the storage. And you place your mug above your player board again. And the order you just completed is placed to the top left of your player board, face down. Some of these orders are special menus. If you manage to complete one of these, you will get one rush marker, and you will place this rush marker on top of your player board. And that's how you complete your orders. That's quite fun, right? I mean, you go out on a little shopping spree here, you gather some ingredients, you put them in these cute little mugs here, and if you manage to complete an order, well, then you complete it and you put it to the top left of your player board. And these cards, again, they will become likes at the end of the game. That will give you scores. Now, if you manage to complete an order, the two players to your left needs to take the same amount of new orders from the order deck as you have just completed and put on number 1 next to their player board. Now, this might seem like a good thing. They get more orders, right? Well, yes, but it also means that now they have even more orders to complete. And remember, if they do not manage to actually complete these orders, well, they will become punishment in the end of the game instead. Because at the end of the turn, we need to move these orders one step down on this track, meaning that 1 goes down to 2, 2 goes down to 3, and 3 goes down to 4. But when they are on 4 already and they need to be moved one more step, well, we actually need to flip them over and put them to the left bottom of our player area. And these cards will give us a dislike at the end of the game. And no wonder, right? I mean, these clients have been waiting for a coffee for quite some time and they did not get it. I would be mad too. And when there are 5 cards in the dislike pile, well, we need to flip this little token here over to the closed side, indicating that now we're in the final turn. Now, if this player would have been to the right of the starting player, then we would actually end the game now. If they are not, we would finish that turn and then we would start to calculate scores. And the same thing will happen when these cards runs out. Whenever a player needs to take cards from this deck and there is nothing, well, we also flip this token over and we will do the same thing. We will either go one final round or we will just end the game. Once the game is over, we would need to calculate all our like cards, but also all our dislike cards, because they are a minus, remember? So if you have 10 like cards and then you have 5 dislike cards, well, your score would be 5 at the end of the game. That's right, I know how to count. Now, the player with the most likes becomes the gloriful winner of Coffe Rush. I have to say that I think that this game is a little gem. It is beautifully made. It is a nice little comfort game. This is a game you sit down and you just have a good time with your friends or family. You can play this with the kids because there's no text on these. I mean, it's language independent. You simply just need to learn the symbols and then you can start playing. These extra little upgrades here that you can do in your coffee shop is just brilliant. And I love the components in this game. I mean, this is such a cute little thing. You got coffee beans here, you got cream, you got little chocolate pieces and water. You put them in your little mug here, and then you just try to complete these little beverages here. It is really a really cute comfort little game where you just sit down and try to make a little hot chocolate or whatever it is. I mean, this is just brilliant. There's no blood here. There's no war. There's no fighting. It's just you trying to make a good cup of coffee or chocolate milk for your clients. That, my friend, is Coffe Rush. I gotta say, this game actually surprised me. I did not think that much about this game when I first saw it. I was like, how cool can it be, right? I mean, you got a coffee shop and you're making coffee. But this has quite quickly become one of our favorites here at our home. This is a nice game. I mean, you sit down in your little bubble here and you just want to do your orders, and if you manage to complete your orders, well, the other players get even more orders, and you just feel like this constant stress, but in a good way, because you feel like you're actually doing something. You feel like you're completing a little quest here, you gather your little resources, you fill up your little mugs, you get some likes. If you don't win it, well, it's not the end of the world because you had a really good time playing the game. If you want to know more about the game, well, check out the links down in the description and it will take you straight through it. If you enjoyed this little video that I did here, well, why not follow me? Maybe subscribe, maybe give me a thumbs up. But most importantly, my friend, please remember to keep on spreading that board gaming love I know you all have. Peace out, my friend.